Welcome back to the Dare to Dream podcast. My name is Vincent Van Patten, and this is a podcast to inspire you to embark on the adventure of your life. And what an adventure this past 6 weeks has been for me. I'm back in Japan. I got back yesterday and just trying to get the gears going again, letting everything just sit right now. Processing. That's what I'm looking for. I'm processing what I just experienced back home in America. I took an impromptu trip back to the United States for my birthday at the beginning or at the end of August, right before Burning Man. And if you followed along with this podcast, with my Instagram, with anything at all, you would know that it's been an extremely powerful, transformative, life-changing 6 weeks. And I just did not see it coming. I went home just thinking that I needed some time with my friends and family, and it was really an impromptu decision to go home. I wasn't planning on it. It just happened like 2 weeks before I left. It turned into a formative chapter of my life and really the springboard and the impetus for, I think, the greatest year of my life coming up. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't have a plan. I don't have a roadmap. I just got feelings. I got profound feelings, and they all tell me that I'm on my way to something big. And this year, oh man, where to begin? What I've been experiencing and what I feel like is about to happen is all truly, truly beyond me. And what I want to talk about today is the feelings that I'm experiencing now as I get back to Japan, as I question what I'm doing here in the first place, and just what it all means to me. The theme that I want to talk about is the fact that we're not supposed to have it all figured out. I'm 29, and this last year, my 28th year on planet Earth, was the hardest year of my life. I went through extreme back pain and just confusion regarding that and my healing journey. And everything changed last May when I really discovered that the pain in my body is due to emotions and just stress and things from childhood and things I haven't been dealing with. Because I just didn't know. I thought it was something physically wrong with my body. And that's how I've been treating it for the last 6 years, which is as long as I've had back pain. That was the first huge, just falling rock. What would you say? The first domino that has really started this next chapter of Vinny Van Patten's journey of my life. I realized that it was emotions and that it was really my lifestyle and just how I was dealing with stuff that was causing pain. And that was the first star in this constellation that has begun lighting up, guiding me, guiding me towards my future, my destiny, and just within myself. And that is really how I know that there is like so much beyond what we can comprehend, is the fact that I thought this was a physical thing wrong with my body for the last 6 years. I read these books by Dr. John Sarno, by Dr. Joe Dispenza, who really handles more of the spiritual aspect of all of this. And I realized that it's my brain. It's just my inside, my inner landscape that's out of harmony. Um, my inner ecosystem that I need to work on, not something physically wrong with my body. And that's when I started to understand, wow. I mean, I've always believed that there's so much out of our control that we just can't possibly comprehend. That is what I write about. That is what gave me faith when I did think my body was broken. I knew that it was happening for a reason. I just didn't understand it and I just didn't know what it was, but I knew that it was making me stronger and that there was a force much larger than me guiding me. It still is, and I still don't know what it is. But there's something that's guiding us. It's why I'm a writer. It's why I'm pursuing an unorthodox life. It's why I think I've been given the challenge of chronic physical pain, because it's made me dig deep within myself. And it's made me believe in something bigger than myself. And I'm bouncing all over at the beginning of this podcast, but I just say all of that to impart the message that this has just been, since discovering this, it feels like life has just been rolling. And I've become more kind of attuned to just this connection with something beyond me. And I've been trusting it and following it. And the more I have, the more these constellations have, or these stars in this grand constellation have continued to light up. And what they are is they're just feelings. They are feelings that tell us which step to take in life, because life is so fucking confusing. We don't know, we don't know what we're supposed to do. We don't know which voice to listen to, our inner voice or the voice of society, the voice of friends, of family. There's so much noise, and it is really confusing. And I come back to this idea that we're not supposed to have it all figured out. We can kind of go down the preordained roadmap of our life and do what we're supposed to do, or we could sink into that mystery, sink into those feelings, and really try to tune out the inner critic, the voice of society, and just ask ourselves, like, what in the silence am I supposed to be hearing right now? What am I supposed to be doing? What is like my soul telling me to do? Not the voice of our friends who maybe want the best for us, but they don't know what's the best for us. You know, what is it that I'm meant to do right now? And take that step, listen to it, and follow it. And that's what I'm doing right now. And that's what brought me home. That's what told me to go home at this pivotal stage of my life. I went through 3 months of this spiritual odyssey when I was just really focused on getting in touch with my inner child and going to therapy and just trying to understand why my body was so out of harmony inside. Like, what brought me to this point? And I was digging a lot into my childhood and my personality and stuff like that. And after 3 months, I was exhausted and I was pretty drained. And I thought, wow, I think it is time I go home just to see family and friends. And I did. I ended up going to Burning Man. Ended up meeting a very special person who is a probably the biggest who is the biggest part of why this 6 weeks was so life changing, is because I met someone, a girl, and man, I think my whole journey is about to change, and I'm fucking psyched. I think it's meant to be, and it's just like I can't wrap my head around it. It is absolutely wild, and I think she's going to be joining me out in Japan and wherever we end up going next, because I've found a person who wants what I want, and that's experience over stability. That is digging deep into what this world is all about. And I can't believe I found someone who is really on the same page, and that just kind of blows me away. And so that happened. Went to some amazing music festivals, Burning Man, and then, well, Burning Man's not a music festival. I should know that. Went to another one called Form with her, with some other best friends. That was just wild in Arizona. And just having these experiences and seeing so many of my best friends when I was back in Malibu, Los Angeles, just connecting. And it was just felt right, like I was meant to do it. I can't see how it wasn't faded, this period of just resetting. And now I'm back in Japan and I'm feeling all these things and trying to process what I just went through and where I'm going next. I'm still dealing with back pain. That is still part of my life. And that's probably the greatest challenge. Like when I get into low moods, maybe when I'm tired, or it was really acting up the last month just when seated, like in cars and on planes. That was the most difficult thing. Because my brain is just conditioned to believe that I'm supposed to be in pain when I'm in a car or on a plane. And I listened to this guy, Jim Prusak, the pain PT, fucking legend, on YouTube. And I've had a few sessions with him. He's a mind body coach. So he deals with exactly this, with retraining your brain to unlearn the pain. And literally, like in the car when it would act up on this road trip heading out to Arizona, I listened to one of his daily audios that he sends out. If you have done a session with him, and my pain went from like a 6 to a 2. Just from it's all about calming your nervous system. Just it's so easy to spiral. Like in that moment, my brain was spiraling. Like, what's happening? I can't sit in the car like this much longer. Oh man, is it something wrong with my back? Just like all these worrisome, fearful thoughts. And that's just about resetting, just breathing, realizing that there's nothing wrong. The brain can do whatever it wants. And it still hurts. The brain is creating real pain in the body, and it still hurts. I was on a 12-hour flight yesterday and sitting between two people. I alternated between asking them if I could get up. I'd ask one and the other, and like every hour to go to the bathroom and stretch. But I would just do these. I was listening to Jim while on the plane and distract myself other ways. But anyways, it totally helps. Like in the moment, I feel the pain dissipate when going through these practices, and that means it's the brain, it's not the body, and it's just wild. And I'm still going through it, and it's still difficult. Like living in pain is not easy. Dealing with that, it makes everything a little bit harder. It makes me a little bit harder on myself. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today, kind of related to that, and just about everything, is this idea of fierce self-compassion. We're so hard on ourselves all the time. Like, we think we're doing the wrong thing. We should have done this better. We fret about the past and the future. It does nothing. It does nothing for us. This idea from Jim, thanks, Jim, fierce self-compassion. That is standing up for yourself or against other people. Like I said, people think they know what's best for us, but sometimes they do, maybe. They usually don't. We got to know that what we feel is real, and we got to stick up for ourselves. And as I reintegrate back into my life here in Japan and I get kind of overwhelmed by all the things I want to do, I got to have self-compassion for myself. That's the only way to heal, is through radical self-compassion and realizing that you are doing your best. You're doing your best with what you got right now. Be easy on yourself. Relax. It helps everything. See more clearly, feel more deeply. Allow. A big part in the healing journey for me is allowing what you feel. And this ties into just the whole concept today of we're not supposed to know exactly. We're not supposed to have it all figured out. And I've been feeling lots of emotions the last few days. Saying goodbye to my girl, and I think I'll be seeing her next month or so, hopefully, unless nothing changes. But it's still really hard to say bye. We spent pretty much this whole month together, and it was just beautiful. And saying goodbye was tough, especially after a big weekend, this film or music festival. Um, it takes a lot out of you. And then to go through this emotional thing, it's not easy. And my brain runs a mile a minute and just get inundated with these thoughts. And I just have to return to just not believing them, really, and not believing those negative thoughts, but allowing myself to feel all these things. In the airport yesterday, I was out all over the place. I was really excited. I was going back to Japan. Then I get hit with sadness, melancholy, then a little anxiety of like what everything I have to do, and I'm about to get on a 12-hour flight, and my body's gonna hurt, and just I'm not alone in this. Everybody feels all this stuff. Allow it to happen. Allow it in. One of the biggest lessons about healing and the way to heal is to allow instead of fighting, instead of fleeing, instead of freezing, which are the normal ways that we handle emotions we don't want. Allow them. Allow the sadness. Allow the pain. Allow the frustration, the anxiety. Allow it in. Allow it to flow through you, because that is the only way it's going to leave. If you fight it, if you close the door and just say, no, 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 it's going to keep knocking. The wolf will keep knocking. Invite it in. It's not going to stay forever. Feel what it means to be a human being on this mysterious planet we call home. We've been gifted with these feelings, and it makes life so beautiful. And this is what I really connect with this girl on, is we want to feel all of life. I would much rather have the highest highs and the lowest lows from real human experience, not like just from drugs or something, but just from having true human beautiful experiences, and then having the opposite, because that means you're living a full experience. You're living a full life instead of one that's just lukewarm. I can't handle that. I can't handle just this middle of the road, neither too high or too low experience of life on earth. I want to feel it all, and I have been a whole journey since college, I would say, when I really started to dive into this stuff and follow my dreams. It's been a whirlwind. I've had big highs, and I've fucking hit a lot of lows. Cried a lot. I've cried a lot. And damn, it feels good to cry. It's all part of it. But I would rather have those epic highs on top of the mountain, which come with the opposite, the lows at the bottom of the valley, rather than just walking, in the middle of the pack. That's not why I'm here. And I was feeling them both yesterday, the darkness and the light. I was letting them in. I got through it. And this morning I was a bit overwhelmed when I woke up. I got through it. Took it one step at a time. I woke up, I'm like, okay. Got this whole laundry list of things you got to do. Want to do. Let's go get a coffee and a water at the local kombini. I got outside and it felt cool. I was like, oh, wow, what a beautiful day. It's cooling off in Japan, and that was part of the reason I had to leave. It was so damn hot this summer, I was about to die. It's so sultry in the summer, and I don't know if I could do it again, quite honestly. But it's cooling off and it feels so good, and the sky's blue, and I got a coffee at the kombini, and it reminded me of why I like it here, and wow. Okay, first step. Got the coffee in me. Then I started unpacking, and I fucking made it. Made it pretty far today. Reorganized my room, took care of some business, got my clothes all done, did my laundry, Now I'm doing this. I'm feeling good. Just takes one step. Takes one step, and that step starts snowballing, and before you know it, you're further than you imagine you could go. And I'm using this example of just what I did today as a metaphor for life and everything we're experiencing, and the theme of the show that we're not supposed to have it all figured out. But what we can do is we could take the next step. What we can do is we could take the next step. And I'm happy to be back in Japan. I mean, this is my place, my home. This is where my stuff is, and I just love being in this fucking place. I'm just the outsider and in a foreign country. It's really exciting. I'm in Tokyo, and last night, just riding on the train from the airport, I just was like, just looking out the window, just in disbelief. Like, how is Tokyo my home? How is Japan this place that I return to well, whenever I leave? I come back to Japan. Like, that's just a crazy feeling. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, let's say, because that was kind of the peak of when I wanted to move here so badly. It was COVID, and I just wanted to move to Japan. It was my dream, but it didn't feel possible. Like, it didn't feel possible. It didn't feel like I just couldn't imagine what it would actually be like. I wanted to live in a foreign country, but my life just felt kind of stunted by COVID and by just this wall. But it eventually lifted. I never gave up on the dream. And now it's been 2 years. And I come back to Japan and I feel like I'm home. I know the airport. I know the little quirks of getting through the gates, and it is actually pretty funny. But so from Narita Airport in Tokyo down in the Skyliner, um, there's one line to get your ticket for the train, the Skyliner. It's usually quite long, and nobody really knows that there's another line across the lobby. It's the same exact thing, and there's never anybody in it. It's quite strange. Um, and I just knew to go over there, and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I've done this before. This feels pretty cool. And then I knew to when you put your ticket in out of like the gates, you got to put your train card as well. Little things, but like everyone was struggling doing it, and the guy was like helping everybody. It was pretty funny. And then I just popped through. I'm like, yeah, I've been there before. It just feels crazy to like return to Tokyo, and I'm like, this is my spot. I'm on the train, just looking out the window, just in disbelief that this feels familiar. That Japan is home, and I made it happen, and it felt so impossible for a time, and I just did it. I just did it. It's not like I wanted to be an English teacher, but that was how I got here. And I think sometimes we're afraid because we think the next step has to be perfect, or it has to be exactly what we want to do, or it has to be leading to the next best thing. But so we don't take that step out of fear. But if I never took the step to become an English teacher, I would have missed the chance to do what I'm doing now, which I really don't even know how it's happening. But I'm like living in Tokyo at this sick little apartment. I don't have a job here, figuring it out, and I think that's pretty difficult. I'm like part of society, but I don't have a job in Japan anymore, and they don't really take too kindly to that. So hopefully, this doesn't make the Japanese authorities break down my wall anytime soon. But I'm here and I'm doing it, and I got this dojo. And then I got to Tokyo, I got to my spot, and I went to my favorite little conveyor sushi spot for dinner. And got hit with some more emotions, like just I don't know. Sometimes nighttime makes things a little bit darker. Well, yeah, it does. Makes everything darker because it's night. But like your thoughts, and sometimes that's when the fearful thoughts come up, or the worries and the anxiety, and it happens with me for sure. And it gets maybe a little bit more lonely, and the daytime is sunny, and you could get through it a little easier. Sometimes at night it's a little different, and I was feeling these things, and just had the realization, like, no, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm here. I'm in Japan, and I'm having sushi. I was having a beer, listening to some music, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with calling Tokyo home as I'm 29 years old and trying to figure things out, because I don't have it all figured out. I got some ideas. I know what I want to do. I'm finishing my book. I'm gonna start writing the next one, and I want to be a full-time writer, getting paid to just write these books. That is what I love. More than the blogging, more than like anything. I don't want to be really a content creator where I'm pumping out content. That's just not really what I want to do. I don't consume it. Like, I don't consume travel content. I don't enjoy it. I don't really enjoy creating. I mean, it's tough. I've talked about this a lot, but like, I don't love creating travel content when I'm traveling. I don't want to make a little video on like best things to do in Bangkok or something. I just want to experience it. And that's why I love writing, is because I can experience it. I take little notes and I go right back and I write a story about it. I love that. I do love that. I just want to live this life and create in moments like this where I'm in my dojo, I'm in my studio, and this is when I create. I do love making videos and stuff, but like, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I've just realized that more than anything else, I love writing books. I love digging deep, and the second book it's finished. I just need to get published now. About Europe is pretty fucking good. I think it just represents what I love, and that is exploring the world and hopefully imparting the message that there's so much out there if we just take the step and we follow our inner voice and take one step after the next. And there's so much beauty in the natural world and just these ancient concepts and places and just connecting with people, and it's enriching. This world is so beautiful, and I think I maybe show that through my writing the best, which is interesting because in our day and age it's like all about video and stuff, but I'm like, I like the written word. I think I enjoy that the most. So I'm gonna keep following that. It's all I got. And I mean, this podcast is like therapy for me. I love doing this, and I love hearing interesting stories of other people. Never gonna stop it. This is part of my corpus, is to dare to dream, because that is what I'm doing. So all that to say, my dream job is just getting paid to write books and to continue doing this podcast and to make content because I want to, and to do photography and stuff, but not because I feel like I have to feed the machine. That is what irks me. And so I'm at the sushi spot and having these feelings that now I don't have it all figured out, but I want to write, I want to tell stories, and I want to have my own magazine. And it's sometimes we look at the big picture and it is overwhelming, but then I just came back to the fact that you're here, you're having dinner, you're sipping a brew. That's all you got to do. When we're in these tired, low states, it's easy to let the mind overwhelm us, but be easy on yourself. Back to that fierce self-compassion. Be easy. You don't need to have it all figured out. But if I could leave you with anything, It is to listen to that inner voice over all else. Not when you're tired and in a bad mood and hungry and stuff, but like when you feel that it's your authentic self speaking to you. When you get the repeating messages telling you the same thing over and over, to break from the mold, to take a step in a different direction, to really tap into the things that set your soul on fire. And maybe they don't look like success on paper, but that is the thing that is going to give you joy and happiness. And that's what's going to lead to your success later on. And I'm not talking about like monetary success or acclaim, but just happiness and joy and an inspired and gratifying life. That will come from listening to that voice that tells you to stray. It tells you to sit a little longer. It tells you to speak up, you know? Listen to it and take a chance. Take a chance on it. We regret what we didn't do more than what we did. I think that is pretty obvious. And if you ask the people on their deathbeds, the regrets of the dying, famously, they said that I wish I had the courage to live a life that was true to myself, not the life that was expected of me. So have the courage to take that step and do it. And you'll be amazed at where you go. One day at a time, one step at a time. I'm with you on this. I'm here, back in Tokyo, trying to figure my life out. But you don't gotta do it all at once. You don't gotta do it alone. The more you take steps, the more you listen to that voice, the more you will find the right people who are going to be in your corner. And you feel the same way because we think we're alone in these things that we feel, but we're not. We just haven't found our tribe yet necessarily. Because we're all just trying to figure it out. Everybody's trying to figure out what we're doing here on this planet. And there is no answer. That's the beauty of it. There is no definitive answer to why we are on this rock. And I gotta believe it's for love. That's the romantic in me. We're on this earth to feel love and to feel deeply. Why else are we here? We're animals. We're here to feel this thing, this deep, deep emotion called love that we get to share with other people, that we get to feel through doing the things that light us up inside, by having deep, meaningful experiences. These all mean love, and they are why we're on this beautiful planet called Earth. It's to feel this thing. It's not to accrue things or money, but to experience life, to experience the question. Maria Rainer Rilke, this Austrian poet, is one of my favorites. He has this beautiful passage about living the question. And he says to love the questions themselves. Instead of needing the answers, love the questions. Live the questions. Live the question. Why are we here? Why are we on planet Earth? If there is no answer, make it your life's mission to live the question. Go out there. Dig deep. Can the answer of why we're on this rock be just to do work we don't enjoy, to make money, to just get by? I won't accept that. I can't accept that. That is the middle of the road experience that I abhor. I want the highs and I want the lows. I want it all. To take shots, to take a shot on yourself, that's going to give you some pain. just as much as it's going to give you the satisfaction, because life hurts. Life is fucking difficult. That's why I still feel the pain in my body. It's because there's still a lot that I'm dealing with and that I'm working through and that keeps me up at night. But it's fucking worth it. It's worth it to be alive, to have these experiences, to hold people that we love, and to share in this indescribable journey. It's worth it. Life is worth it. Being alive is worth the pain. Being a human being is worth all the shit that we got to go through. And we do got to go through a lot of shit. Nobody is exempt. We're all dealing. And just as much as we got to have fierce self-compassion for ourselves, we got to feel compassion for others. You know, the people who want the best for us, who think they do. The people who may have hurt us, or maybe we hurt strangers. We're all going through this human experience. And we get, if we're lucky, 80 plus years on this rock. What will we make of it? Isn't that insane? We could have been born 2,000 years ago in the Roman era and just fucking struggling to survive. But we got 2024. The greatest time to be alive. We have our problems, but we've been dropped into existence for a brief blip of time. What will we make of it? What will we make of our time on Earth? God, it's absolutely insane. There's so much, and that's scary, and it's also so exciting. There is so much we could do. Anything. We could do anything in life. It's just not easy, but we can do it. So what are we going to do? You know? What is your experience? What is your brief blip of time on Earth going to be filled with? And I go back to the theme. You don't need to have it all figured out. It doesn't need to be a perfect roadmap of just the fact that we have the chance to do anything in life. That means, oh, okay, I know what I want to do. I'm going to do this, 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 and live this extraordinary life. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Life is just exploration. It meanders. Take one step here that leads you there. You take a step back. That was really a step forward. We just have no clue what's really happening. Who's the great orchestrator of this beautiful game? I don't know. It's beyond all of us, and that is the beautiful mystery. Well, fam, we got deep today, philosophical, existential. And I hope it inspired you, because it felt good to talk about. I love this stuff. It's wild. It's a wild planet we are on. And I think we're here for love, baby. I really do. It gives me more meaning than anything, is to feel love, to feel it with somebody else. Just to know that nobody has it all figured out. We just got to keep moving. Keep enjoying it. Live the questions. Love the questions. You got one life. It's yours. Nobody else's. What are you going to do with it? I back you. Nobody else does. I back you. Live your life. And if you enjoy this video, this podcast, please give it any rating you desire, hopefully 5 stars. Helps us out a lot. And share it with somebody. Share it with somebody who needs this message. It fires me up just talking about this, and hopefully it fired you up. And if you think you can do the same for somebody else, fucking send it off. We could all use some more magic in our lives. Am I right? Or am I right? Love you all. Much, much love.